What's going on, brothers? What's going on? Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's your dude, Mr. International Passport, here again for another Future Classic live stream. First and foremost, who's in the building today? Please put some one in the live stream chat if you can hear me loud and clear. How is my audio? Pardon me. How is my audio? Mayday, mayday. Am I good? Let me know right now. Who's in the building? Who's here? Who's here? Okay. Person one, the live stream chat. Marvin Lloyd, bass pill clips. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much for confirming. Much appreciated, brothers. So let's get straight into it. Welcome, brothers. Huge thank you to those that support the channel over the past couple of years, and of course, welcome aboard the new people. I'm International Passport. We're here to speak about Brazil, so make sure you please uh, listen up because it's going to be a classic live stream. So when you come in tonight on the stream, please like the video. Please, of course, hit the super chats, hit the PayPal. Um, Join the Patreon for intel, even more intel about Brazilian chicks, X-rated explicit, and of course, cop the merch too. You can see on the screen, I'll be accepting new students in my upcoming Python class. So go on to my Patreon, look for the Ultimate Python Course 2024 February to book your slot in the upcoming course that I'll be teaching you Python, okay? Don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's going to be life changing. Okay. So let's get straight into it. Okay. So we shall be speaking about Brazil. Okay. Brazil. And I got a very special guest here who just recently came back from Brazil called Mr. Jam. How you doing, Jam?
Hey man, I'm good. I'm a little inebriated, but I'm okay.
You always are, bro. Flipping heck. You drink so
Hey,
much.
don't paint that brush against me, man.
Oh man. So
It's 9 a.m.
welcome.
over here. Okay, so I was partying earlier tonight. So
Damn, the life of an IT bro, traveling. So, Mr. JM, before we break down Brazil and your time over there, you mind giving us a brief intro about who you are, where you're from, anything special about you, and of course, how you're able to travel like this, brother, working remotely, and what particular field are you in? Break it down for us, bro.
all right, I'm gonna say the same thing I said last time. I'm just a black dude, nothing special. I just happened to find a job in IT, and that allowed me to travel the world after I was watching, especially your videos, but videos about the Password Bros and that movement. So that's really what helped me. Before then, I was just living in New York and Miami, working remotely at home, and then I realized I could live abroad doing the exact same thing. So I started doing that. But if you're asking about how I'm able to work remotely and travel the world, like I said, I'm in IT. I'm a coder, Python, Java, React. That's kind of what I do. And yeah, so I know you've been teaching your course, and I say definitely do it. Don't be like me and try to learn by yourself because you'll spend twice as long in order to learn half as much. And I had a mechanical engineering degree, so it helped me a lot because I went to a good school and got a mechanical engineering degree, so people are willing to take chances on me. And most likely, you don't have that. I mean, if you do, great, but if you don't, it's going to be a lot harder for you than it was for me to find a job in this field. So definitely take up the opportunity and join IP's Python class so you can do what I'm doing right now.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Great intro there, Mr. J. And brothers, get on the Python class, get on the Python course. It's a special opportunity for you to take advantage of it. Me teaching you Python and showing you the ropes. So, let's get straight into it, brother. Brazil. Um, can I ask, brother, why you chose to go to Brazil, during your remote work journey, brother, so far? Why Brazil? And where were you in Brazil, bro? What cities? Break it down for us, bro.
All right, so Brazil was actually the first country I wanted to go to. I didn't end up going there. I ended up going to the Philippines first, but I wanted to go to Brazil first. And the only reason why I didn't end up going is because my friends who were supposed to go with me, they canceled on me. And, I'm just reading online. I don't have any intel. I didn't know about your channel yet. So I didn't know how safe Brazil was. I thought it was dangerous. I didn't want to go by myself, especially for the first time traveling inside the US. So I ended up choosing the Philippines first before going to Brazil. And I finally had my friends, and they finally wanted to go to Brazil. And so that's why I was able to travel there for 2 months. Now, talking about cities, I spent 6 weeks in Rio de Janeiro. I was all over Rio, and I also spent 2 weeks in Sao Paulo. So that's kind of where I spent my majority of my time at.
Incredible, bro. Incredible. So, first question to you, brother, right? I think it's very important is in terms of accommodation. So, across your time in Rio and Sao Paulo, brother, what was the accommodation process? What did you use? Was it hotel, Airbnb? Did you book it in the country? Did you book it in America? Break down the accommodation process for us, bro.
Yeah, it was definitely Airbnb. And quick tip about Airbnb, I've noticed a lot, especially in Copacabana, Ipanema, right, which is usually the hot spots where people want to go at. A lot of times they'll say they don't have any guests. So my quick tip on that is when you're booking Airbnb, before you book, just message the host and ask if they allow guests, because you're definitely going to want people to bring some guests. Let's just put it that way. So they'll say they allow guests in their listings, but then when you book with them, then they say there's no guests. So it's kind of annoying because they literally advertise you can allow guests, and then once you pay for it, then they say there's no guests. So to avoid all that hassle, just ask them before you book.
Awesome, bro. So, brother, was it cheap accommodation in Brazil, Airbnb, brother? Obviously, I'm guessing you booked in America in advance, so when you went there, you went to the spot. So, were you in a fancy spot? Was Airbnb good quality? And of course, was it a good price? Was it cheap in Rio and Sao Paulo? Break it down for us, bro.
Yeah, so quality was fantastic. Cheap, it depends on how cheap you want it to be. I mean, if it's cheaper than America, then yeah. But most likely, you're gonna be, if you're traveling and you're listening to this stream, you're like me, where you have a property in America and you're also paying for the property abroad. So if you're not living in Brazil, it's not so cheap because it's actually the most expensive country I've been to so far.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. But most of the countries I've been to was in Asia, so that's why. And it wasn't like Korea or Japan. So like I'm used to like Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam prices where things are very cheap. In Brazil, it's not quite as cheap, but it's definitely cheaper in the U.S. Like if you're living in Brazil, expect to pay maybe like 60% of what you pay in the U.S. But if you're just traveling, then yeah, it's a decent amount of money. It's still cheap for me, but you know, I'm not sure if it's cheap for the average passport bro.
so brother, you're paying for your own spot in the US, right? Is that your own spot that you actually own yourself, or is that renting a renting spot you're renting in the US, but you're also abroad as well? Break it down for us,
So
bro.
both. I own one spot and I rent another spot. I own a spot in New York and I rent a spot in Miami. But I'll be giving up the Miami spot in short order. Actually, I apologize. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but I apologize if you can hear that. Anyway, I have a spot in Miami that I'm actually getting rid of next week. I have one more payment, and then I'm good to go. And I have it until July. I pay 3 months in advance. So after that, I'm pretty much good to go. I do own a spot in New York. I'll keep that spot and I'll rent it. But that's kind of how my living quarters is like in America.
Yo, flipping heck, bro. So brother, you're telling me, right? You were paying essentially for free spots. So you were in Rio, paying for a spot in Rio. You have your own spot you own in your name that you pay for mortgage wise, and you have a renting spot that you just rent and live in there, right? In another place in America. How you affording that, bro? Flipping heck.
Yo, IT, bro, join the join the Python class, and you can do the same thing.
Incredible, bro. Absolutely incredible. Well done, bro. Mr. Jam, he's doing very well. Awesome, bro. We love hearing that. So, okay, so accommodation wise, you got it all sorted out, brother. I love the way you balance that kind of aspect there, brother. So let me ask this, brother. Right, brother, in terms of your time in Brazil so far, or when you were there, who runs the country? Who's actually in control of the finances, the economics? Who has the most power there? Is it the white Brazilians, or is it the mixed race Brazilians? Do black men have any power out there? And that's in terms of black Brazilian men or black Western men. Who runs the show there, brother, in Brazil?
All right, so that's a pretty nuanced answer. If you want the short answer, it's definitely the white Brazilians or the immigrant Brazilians, the people who can speak Portuguese, but they're immigrants and they speak the language here. You're going to want to speak the language if you want to get power in Brazil. But I would say, yeah, the white Brazilians are the ones who own the most power, but it's not very apparent until you start living there long term and you start seeing stuff. Like, for example, there's a lot of black Brazilians. Now, they're not black like we're black. I mean, they're dark skinned, but you can kind of tell they don't have the same phenotypes as we do. You know what I mean? Like if you're African black,
Mm,
so it can still kind of tell that you're not Brazilian just because you don't look like the black that they're used to. Because their black is more mixed black, so they might be as dark as you, but they won't have the same features as you do. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So there is still, unfortunately, and it's just true for majority of the world, there is still, a hierarchy, or, I guess the Indians call it classism when it comes to race, but it's much less pronounced in Brazil as it is in the U.S.
mm. And I think, and that's my problem with Brazil. There, I know Brazil has some race issues there. I think they're, I don't know, like they're far behind when it comes to race relations, or and that's why when I hear Brazil, blah blah blah, I'm thinking, okay, cool, but how's race relations there? Like, I heard that black men don't have a lot of power out there. Black men are a lot of black Brazilian men are struggling financially there, opportunities economically. So it ain't sweet out there for black Brazilians, from what I'm hearing, man. Which is extremely sad. And they're the majority of the population. How is that possible? It's infuriating. So that goes on to my next question, brother. Right? How were you treated there as a black man, brother, in Brazil? I'm assuming they knew you were Western by the way you spoke, what you said, how you looked. Did that tie into you a better treatment or worse treatment? Break it down for us, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, I took advantage of the fact that I'm black out there because there is a stigma that if you're black, you might rob, or there's a crime problem in Brazil. So when they see, black people, they think that they're more likely to. Sorry, hold on. Let me get to the place that's more quiet. My apologies. 1 second.
No problem. No problem. Brothers, Python course, join the Python course on IG. Sorry, on Patreon. Join the Python course. I'm taking in new students. Join the Python course.
Hopefully, this is a little bit better. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, there is a little bit of racism, but I tend to use that as a positive. It's the same thing in America. So obviously, there's racism. They think that we're more likely to commit violence, etc. And from one standpoint, I can understand it because statistics are there. But I just use it to my advantage. So, for example, when I was walking alone in Brazil, I would just mean mug as a walking alone late at night, 2, 3 in the morning. I had absolutely no issues. There was Brazilians who were there; they've been living there all their lives, and they're afraid to walk alone by themselves at night. In Copacabana, in Ipanema, they would walk in certain streets, not walk in others. I had no problem with that because I was 6'2", 200-pound black man, and most likely they weren't going to mess with me. So I kind of used the racism to my advantage in order to not be really messed with. But let me put it this way: if as soon as they hear me speak English, the racism completely goes away. So as a foreign, like as a British black man or American black man, or essentially as a Western black man, you're not going to experience the racism that the Brazilian blacks will experience once you speak and once they know who you are. But if they don't know that from seeing you automatically, then yeah, you might experience a little bit of racism, but it's still less in the U.S. I'm assuming
So
the UK.
so you tell me, brother, when you're walking down or when you're communicating with a non-black Brazilian, when they hear you speak English, they treat you differently. Wow.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's weird, bruv. That's not right. In my opinion. That is crazy racism right there.
Yeah,
Can't
I mean, I
believe
don't
it.
think they're rules, but I will say that I've used it to my advantage. So, for example, when I wanted them to think I was Black Brazilian, or at least not American Brazilian, I would speak Spanish because I speak Spanish pretty well, and a lot of them don't know Spanish like that. So I would speak Spanish, and then they would still be somewhat afraid of me. And what that meant was that they wouldn't bother me. So when I'm walking alone at night, or I was at the club and I was by myself, and I was, part of it myself, they wouldn't really bother me if they assumed I wasn't American black. Because while they do treat you better if you're American or you're Western, they also treat you as like I guess what's a colloquial term? They treat you like a lick, like it's an easy
Mm,
lick. You know what I
mm.
mean? So if you call me a lick, then you shouldn't so quickly identify yourself as a Western black man, especially if you're out late at night by yourself. And I was several times.
Yeah, we need to get a breakdown as to the nightlife there, how to navigate that, but we'll touch upon that very soon. Um, Very true there, Border 360. Look at the favelas, Brazil ghettos is horrible. black people live in those places is sad, IP. Very sad indeed. I saw a film called City of God, Cidade de Juice, a couple years ago. And the way they live in that film is the way they live in real life, man. And it's absolutely horrific, horrific. Um, and let's keep it a stack. I think in many cases, right, it could be classified as an apartheid state. You know, it could be classified as an apartheid state. The way some things run in Brazil, I'm not messing with that, you know. Now on my channel, right, I'm gonna give brothers the good, the bad, and the ugly. I have spoke positively about Brazil in the past. I've also said things about Brazil that are negative, right? So I aim here to give you a balance of two things: the good and the bad, the ugly. When it comes to countries, no country is perfect, and we want to touch upon the bad, the good, and the ugly in the stream, no matter what country. All right, we got to give you the real facts here. Some parts I love about Brazil, some parts I don't like. One of the reasons why it isn't high on my list because you know I'm not traveling to a different country where I'm seeing people that look like me struggling. Doesn't matter if they're Black Westerner, African, Caribbean, Black American. There's a reason why I have no plans going to South Africa, right? The blacks there in South Africa are going through hell. I don't want to be around that, right? I have enough thoughts in my mind, right, that when it comes to brothers, that makes me angry. I don't want to get angrier, so I'd rather avoid South Africa in the near future. I just hate seeing black people not do well, okay, or doing horribly in a foreign country. It don't feel right to me. So there's certain spots that I just can't go to, and I think Brazil I may put that on that list. I just don't know yet. Okay. So next question for you, brother. Okay, is so when you were there, brother, right? Did you see any sort of investment opportunities, right, in terms of um what brothers can invest in, any business opportunities, brother? Break it down for us.
Yeah, I guess the short answer is yes and no. Um, yes for most people, no for me. But although it might be yes for me as well, let me just elaborate. So in Brazil, there's something called a CPF, which is like the equivalent of, I'm not sure what it is in the UK, but in the US, it's called Social Security, right? The good thing is that anyone in Brazil, anyone can get a CPF. Like if you go to the embassy or I forgot what it's called, and you just pay the money and you do the paperwork and get the CPF, and that's good because it allows you to do a certain amount of things, and it's not like the U.S. where you need to get your citizenship or a visa, none of that stuff. You can just go there and so get the money, and you have a good passport, they'll give it to you. From there, you can buy property, especially if you're like in Rio. You can buy property and you can invest it, do Airbnb stuff like that. I actually met a guy who was Lebanese over there that bought a property, but he didn't have quite as good luck because he bought the property and there ended up being a lot of issues and he couldn't really get any help, and so he had to kind of fix everything himself. And I just tried to sell the property. So for me personally, I don't like the idea of buying property in a country that I'm not a citizen in because in case there's any issues, I want to be able to sue or do stuff like that. I can't do that when I'm maybe I can because they have a CPF. I'll have to look into it, but for me personally, the idea of owning property in a country that I'm not a citizen, it's a no go for me. I just rather not do that. It's too many risks. So I'm sure it's good for a lot of people. I know a lot of people own property in Brazil and they had no problems. That's fine, but I mean, that's assuming you buy property and there's no problems. If you do have problems, then I don't know where you would go or what you would do, and I'm not sure what resources you would have if that happened to you. So for me, I'm very risk averse. I wouldn't do it, but there's definitely opportunities there.
Okay, awesome, bro. So now, speaker, tell me about Brazilian people. Like, how are they across all races? Are they kind people? Are they extroverted? Are they introverted? Are they, hardcore people? Break it down for us, brother.
Yeah, the easiest way I can describe Brazilian people is they're essentially the Portuguese version of Americans, but better. Better in a lot of ways. Maybe worse in some ways, but better in a lot of ways. But yeah, it reminds me of much like America. I mean, there's white Brazilians, black Brazilians, Hispanic Brazilians, Indian Brazilians, Asian Brazilians. I mean, literally any type of race that you see in America, you'll see in Brazil. And they'll speak Portuguese. And they're all very friendly, just like how like Well, actually, they're even more friendly than America. I mean, Americans are known for being kind of outgoing a little bit if you speak to them, but Brazilians are even more outgoing. They're way more outgoing, and all of them know how to play soccer. God, I mean, it's crazy how they just know. Even the women, they're all like amazing at soccer. They're all amazing at juggling the ball. I don't know how they do it, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome, bro. So, how did you meet friends there, brother? How did you meet people there and make friends there in your time in Brazil?
I made a lot of my friends through beach, through restaurants, or through the mall. So on the beach, I would drink, kind of like what I was doing right before this call. And I would play music, and then people, or I'd fly my drone out. The drone, like essentially, I would do things that were like eye popping. The drone helps a lot. Like I was taking drone videos and stuff like that, and people would want to see the drone because it's like a flying camera in the sky. They would talk to me. I would talk to them. We'd exchange contacts, and that's how I made friends. So I made a lot of friends at the beach. I made a lot of friends through different restaurants that I went to. And I made a lot of friends through the mall. But you can also make friends almost anywhere. At least in the two cities that I've been in Rio and Sao Paulo, you can make friends almost anywhere where you're at.
Okay, bro. Fantastic. So, transportation. So, how did you move around out there in Brazil, in Sao Paulo and Rio? Was it Uber? Was it taxi? Was it bus? Was it subway? And what's the best way to move around out there, brother, in Brazil?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you said. That's everything I use. So Uber, taxi, bus, subway. I use all of them. I use the Uber for short rides. They actually have motor Ubers there too, so it's a lot cheaper there as well. So I use the motor Ubers a lot. I haven't found any motor Ubers except in Asia. So to find it in Brazil, that was kind of nice. But be wary though, because I did see someone who passed on using a motor Uber. So use at your own discretion. But yeah, they have buses. I used buses to travel from Sao Paulo to Rio. So I was on a 7 hour bus ride. I used it like 3 or 4 times to go between Sao Paulo and Rio. So buses are there. They're great for long term travel. They have subways. You can use subways to go all throughout Rio de Janeiro. You can go through all throughout there. You want to go to Flamingo. You want to go to Ipanema, Copacabana, all that stuff. They have subways. And they also have something you didn't mention. They have bikes. So you can actually rent bikes there. This is where I would recommend getting a CPF. You don't need a CPF; you can use your passport. But for me personally, I don't want to give my passport information to a country that I don't really know like that. So, but yeah, you can rent bikes out there too, and that's actually a very common way that people travel.
Awesome, bro. So, brother, is public transportation safe in Brazil?
Yeah, it's very safe. I was actually really surprised because, like I said, Brazil was the first country I wanted to go to. I did end up going there because my friends bailed on me last year, and I thought it was a dangerous country. I didn't want to go by myself. So, but once I got out down there, I realized how safe it was. Yeah, the buses were super safe. The subway was super safe. Ubers were super safe. Yeah, any type of transportation for the most part was super safe. So you'll have no problem as long as you use those forms of transportation.
Okay, awesome. So, brother, in terms of food, um, how's Brazilian food like, brother? Is it good? And what was your favorite Brazilian cuisine?
Yeah, you gotta understand. I have a different diet than most people, so I'm not the best person to ask that question. I did have friends who went with me that don't share my diet, but I don't eat meats. I don't eat any products, so I enjoyed the food. The food was fantastic. There was a lot of great food for me personally. In terms of my friends, they had great. They had a great time as well. Brazil is known for their steakhouses. So my friend went to this famous steakhouse. It was like $40 per plate. He said it was fantastic. He enjoyed it. It was great. But they have, like I said, it's very similar to America where they have dishes from all across the world. They have, I believe, Lebanese restaurants, Mexican restaurants, Japanese restaurants. I mean, they have any type of restaurant that you would almost find in America. They have it there. And so the food is fantastic for me and for the wider population.
Okay, interesting, bro. So you said that you don't eat meat. So how are you ripped? How do you get big, brother? If you don't eat meat, how many calories do you eat a day? What's your normal diet like, brother? Just out of interest, how do you build muscle by eating meat, brother? And how do you obviously fill your calorie requirement?
Yeah, I mean that could be a whole separate stream. Honestly, I know that you had a stream of Theo about diet, and there's a lot that he said. I respect Theo to the high to the utmost, but when it came to that stream, there's a lot of things he said that I disagree with, but I mean, if we want to go to the short term, and maybe we can talk about this in a separate stream because I don't want to take the entire time here. Is it's really just calories in, calories out, and make sure you're getting your protein. So when it comes to like being big, right, you just need to get enough calories. I mean, that's really what it is. If you eat enough, you'll get big. If you don't eat enough, you won't get big. And when it comes to protein or building muscle, you need to get enough protein. You need to have enough resistance training. So for me, I train at least 2 hours a day. I run an hour in a day, or in Rio, I was running like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. I was running a lot in Rio because they have like different running stations right by the beach. But yeah, I run at least an hour a day, and then I lift for an hour and a half a day, and that's just kind of how I do it. So I just get my food in, and I train, and yeah, it's the same as everything else. Like this whole myth of like you can't get big if you're on a vegetarian or a vegan diet, that's a lie. All the biggest, strongest mammals are vegetarian and vegan, like hippos, elephants, gorillas. They're all vegan. So
Okay, so let me ask this right. What did you eat? Uh, just to give it to us quickly, brother. What would you eat in the afternoon or in the morning? That isn't meats. That obviously break it down.
okay, so for me, like I said, whenever I'm abroad, I almost never cook. So I was eating at restaurants. I can tell you the exact restaurants I went to when I was in Rio, especially Rio. There's this restaurant called Teva, and also another restaurant called Teva Deli. Anything there is fantastic. If you go there, it's right in. I think Teva Deli is in Copacabana. It's either no, it's in Copacabana, and then and then Teva is in Ipanema. Those restaurants are absolutely fantastic. Anything you go there, and like a lot of people who eat there, they're not vegan. In fact, almost all the people who eat there are not vegan. So I would ask them because it was a vegan restaurant. I would ask them, and they just ate it because they thought the food was good. So that's pretty much where I ate most of my food. I did go to Subway; they had a vegan sub there, and I went to a couple other restaurants. But yeah, that's kind of just where I ate. I just ate different sandwiches, subs, stir fries, stuff like that. I mean, I just ate a whole variety of things.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, next question for you, bro, is but the cost of living. So when you compare the cost of living of Brazil to America, which is cheaper, which is more expensive, and is the cost of living in Brazil suitable for an IT passport, bro? Break it down.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if it's cheaper than America and you're living in America, then obviously it's going to be cheaper for you. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely cheaper. But if you're like me, or you're like how I used to be, because after this month, I won't be this way anymore. I'm going to look abroad full term. But if you're like me, you're probably paying for a property in America, and you're also paying for the living accommodations while you're abroad. And so, if that's the case, then you'll be paying almost like 1.6, maybe to 1.5, 1.6, maybe all the way up to 1.8 times what you're paying in the U.S. in terms of accommodations, because you're paying for your property in America, and you're also paying for whatever living conditions you are abroad. Brazil, for me, was the most expensive country I've been to out of the, I think it's 6 countries I've been to so far. So, but then again, like I said, I'm used to Asia. In Asia, it's very cheap, especially if you're in is it Southeast Asia? I'm not sure where like the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam is at. I think that's Southeast Asia. So if you're used to that, then yeah, Brazil's a lot more expensive than that. Like when for example, a dish here for Southeast Asia, like in terms of like food, is around $10, and that's for me like eating a string like a unique diet. So for the average person, probably like $2 to $5, but for me, it's like it's like double that. But in Brazil, my average dish was like $30. So do that with what you will. I still ate out every single time. I never cooked once, so I was able to eat the entire time. I ate out every single time. I had my property. I had my Airbnbs. I never cooked. I never like penny pinched. But it's definitely more expensive than Southeast Asia. I'll say that. But if you're just living in Brazil by yourself, then yeah, it's cheaper than America. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have a lot of fun. You'll save a lot of money. And you'll have a lot of fun there. I did see your stream on Colombia. It's nowhere near as cheap as Colombia, but in my opinion, it's a good thing because you don't have the Poogies and the Ray Rays, you know, infesting there.
Awesome, bro. So now, okay. So, but in terms of safety, right? Is it a safe country? Is Rio and Sao Paulo safe cities? Was there any time where you felt uneasy at all? Break it down for us, but the safety aspects.
All right, so there was two times I felt uneasy. Right, the first time was when I got off the plane and I got to Rio because I didn't know what I was expecting. I only saw what happened with the internet. So I didn't bring my, like, I had my Apple Watch. I didn't wear it with me, and I like to, I like to have my Apple Watch because I like to track my calories, all the stuff, all the stuff that the Apple Watch tracks. So I didn't wear it because I was afraid it was gonna get stolen and stuff like that. But then as I lived there for quite a while, I realized it's really safe. So I started wearing my Apple Watch. I started putting my iPhone everywhere I went. So I had no problem, at least in the areas that I'm at. Like if you're in Rio, you're in Copacabana, you're in the rich touristy areas, you're gonna be fine. Especially now, look, you have to understand, I'm 6'2", 200 pounds. So take that if you will. You've seen what I look like, so you know I'm a big guy. So take that for what you will. If you're a smaller guy, maybe, but I've seen a lot of people who are smaller than me. They wore the Apple Watches. They had their iPhones. A lot of people have iPhones. So you'd be surprised how many people have iPhones. So if you're in those touristy areas, Sao Paulo, Rio, you're in the upscale areas, you're gonna be fine. The only other time I felt uneasy was I was in a more hoodish place in Sao Paulo, and there I felt a little bit uneasy. But I mean, I didn't feel uneasy enough to take my Apple Watch off. I just kind of was, I was looking back over my shoulder. So, but like I said, if you're not like in the favelas or in the destitute areas, you're gonna be fine pretty much. You're gonna be fine. I honestly look at Rio very. I mean, I look at Brazil very similar to America. Like it's akin to America, where if you're in the right areas, you're gonna be fine. If you're in the wrong areas, then you need to watch out. That's kind of how I look at Brazil.
Okay, so Baba, in terms of Brazilian culture, obviously there's a lot of samba, a lot of women wearing promiscuous clothing. I look at the festivals, women, hardly dressed up or hardly wearing anything. Women appear to be, wearing skimpy outfits out there in Brazil. Is Brazil a conservative culture or is it a liberal culture? Is it a mixture of two? Give us your bad, Baba, in terms of where it fits in culturally, conservative or liberal, and tell us why.
Yes, I alluded this to one of your previous streams. I think it was like one of your end of the year streams. I kind of alluded to this, but let me give the full breakdown now. At least from where I'm at, maybe it's different if you go to like the more remote areas in Brazil, but at least in Sao Paulo, Rio, the places that I freaking in, I'm going to say absolutely unequivocally, no, it's not a conservative culture. I mean, in fact, I was actually surprised. I was shocked by how many, like by how unconservative it was. Like, yeah, they wear skimpy outfits, and I guess it's a little bit to be expected in a tropical climate. But it wasn't just that shocked me. It was the amount of tattoos I saw, the amount of piercings I saw, the amount of different colors I saw, the amount of rainbow people I saw, if that's a kind way to say it. There's a lot. In fact, I live in Miami. Miami is actually known as a rainbow city. Like there's quite a few rainbow people there. I didn't know that before I moved down there, but once I moved down there, it was obvious. But I would say that Rio and Sao Paulo has more rainbow people than even Miami. So that's one thing that if you're not into that, that might be a deal breaker for you. For me, it was a culture shock. I was not a fan of that, but everything else that Brazil had to offer offset the rainbow aspect of it. If you know what I'm saying.
Wow. So Brazil is a liberal society. Huh. Huh. Wow. Oh,
It's
damn.
very it's very liberal. You'll see almost a lot of people have tattoos. I would say half or even more than half people have tattoos or piercings. Like I have no tattoos, I have no piercings, none of that stuff. You'll see the in Brazil. There's this. I'm not sure if you know what PDA is, public display of affection. Like kissing in public, stuff like that. That's a very big culture in Brazil. Like they do that a lot, and because they have a very big rainbow population, you're gonna see that, if you know what I'm saying. And for me personally, I'm disgusted when I see that. I turn away. I can't look at that. So to be in Brazil, you're gonna see that quite often. It's gonna if you're like me, if you're traditional, if you're raised a certain, I'm African, so in our countries this is illegal. Like we don't. It's more than illegal. There's stuff we do to them that we can't say on the stream. So for me, this is just I was not I was not expecting this, and I was not okay with this aspect of Brazil. So
Wow. Oh, obviously, hearing how liberal it is, uh, having children there, no. Um, I think That I knew it. Looking at what I was hearing, seeing there, ain't no way that's a conservative country, man. Like, it's impossible. Uh,
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like you can't really, like I said, I've only been to two cities. I've been to Sao Paulo and Rio, and Sao Paulo is the largest city, not in just Brazil, but it's the largest city in South America. And then Rio is like the second largest city in Brazil. So, like, I can't assume all Brazil's like that because there was a lot of people I talked to who felt the exact same way I did, but they felt powerless. You know, like how you're in UK, you feel a certain way, but you can't speak that way in the UK because they dominate the culture. That's how it was like with them. I would talk to them and they would agree with me. In fact, they would strongly agree with me, but they feel like they were powerless as well. So I feel like the powers that be also kind of dictate what happens over there. But if you're maybe if you're not in those large cities, if you're in like a more remote part of Brazil, it'll be different. It's kind of like I just don't want to necessarily assume that's the case because it's like assuming America's a certain way just by being in like Los Angeles or San Francisco. Like if you're in Texas, it's gonna be a completely different experience than if you're in San Francisco. So I don't want to necessarily say paint all Brazil with a big brush. Those are the only two cities I've been to. They're the largest cities in Brazil, but I don't want to paint all Brazil like that. I haven't been to all Brazil yet.
so let me ask, Baba. So the lifestyle that you were living there, and what kind of lifestyle is it like living in Brazil that the average person lives, and lifestyle that a passport could live out there in Brazil? Break it down.
I mean, it depends what city you're on. I mean, if you're in Rio, you're going to be doing the beach vibes, so it's going to be better. So, like I said, I live in Miami Beach. I'm a big fan of Miami. It's one of my favorite cities in America. But Rio beats Miami out the water. It beats out the park. It's crazy because in Rio is essentially Miami, so it's better because you have vendors to buy anything for you. So in Miami, for example, if you go to Miami Beach and you forget something, you have to go back to your place and get it and bring it back. If you want to drink, you need to stick your alcohol in. If you want to do paraphernalia, which I don't do, but if you want to do that, you need to bring it with you, all that stuff, right? But in Brazil, you just need to bring yourself because there'll be people, vendors selling that stuff to you. So whenever I was in Brazil, I didn't bring any alcohol with me. They would sell it to me. I didn't bring any. You don't even need to bring like blankets or any of that stuff. You can bring absolutely just yourself and everything else. They'll sell you. They'll sell you sandals. They'll sell you alcohol. They'll sell you blankets. They'll sell you sunglasses. They'll sell you anything you would want in Brazil. They'll sell you, and they'll sell you for a good price. Like the average price I spent for alcohol was about in the U.S. for like $2 per can, but we're talking about the large cans, like not like the little small cans. They're the large cans that, for most people, they would get tipsy to inebriated and with about 2 to 3 cans. I'm a bigger guy, so it takes more for me. But for the average person, 2 to 3 cans, you're fine. So we're talking about $4 to $6, and you're gonna be having a nice buzz out there. They sell you speakers there. I mean, everything you want to buy. They sell for a good price. So the one thing is when you first get there, you're not gonna really know what the prices are like until you buy the first time. Then once you know the prices, then you can haggle down. Because if they hear you speak English, they're gonna increase the price on you. So you need to make sure that you let them know that you know what the prices actually are. Otherwise, you're gonna be taken advantage of. So, but yeah, Brazil is Rio is fantastic. Now Sao Paulo, it's more like the New York version of Brazil. Uh, Great nightlife, but during the day, I mean, during the week, I didn't find much fun there. That's why I didn't spend too much time. Like as you can see, I spent 6 weeks in Brazil. I mean, in Rio, but I spent only 2 weeks in Sao Paulo. That's just because, when it wasn't the weekend, it was kind of I find it kind of boring in Sao Paulo. Like after I was done doing all the sightseeing, there wasn't that much to do in Sao Paulo for me. So
Okay, but did you open up? What's it called? Did you open up a Brazilian bank account, or were you spending on your American account, Baba, while your time in Brazil? And
I
how?
got a
And
CPF.
what about foreign exchange fees as well? Break it down for us, bro.
Yeah, so I got a CPF. I didn't open my Brazilian bank account yet. I'm going to be doing that once I actually get a property there because I'm going to make Brazil my second home. I really like it. Aside from the rainbow aspect, I really like Brazil, and you'll find out shortly why I do. So, but in terms of like getting money and stuff like that, what I will recommend is you want to bring a good amount of cash to Brazil because it is a little bit difficult getting cash in Brazil. Now there are ways to get it. There's an ATM you can go. The one I used was Banco 24 Horas, HORAS. Now, quick tip for you. Quick tip. When they ask you, do you want to make the exchange equivalent? Like, do you want to do the what is it? The equivalent exchange? Say no, because whatever they offer is much more expensive than what your bank will offer. So I've saved a lot of money doing that way. Like, for example, if you just want to get 500 reals, if you say no, for me, for Visa, it was $88 to get 500 reals. But if you say yes to their ATM fees or their exchange rate, you're gonna be paying like 110, $115. So just say no. They'll still give you the cash, but the exchange rate will be based on your bank and will be based on the ATM. The ATM charges you an arm and a leg for an exchange rate, so don't do that. But the best would
Okay.
be to just bring cash there, bring a lot of cash there.
So you're saying credit card, debit card, don't use it in Brazil?
No, you can use it in Brazil, but you're going to want to use cash for things that you can't use credit and debit card for. So, for example, they actually do have a lot of places where you can pay for credit and debit card, but if they don't have that, you're going to need cash. So, if you're on the beach and you want to buy like alcohol, or you want to buy chairs so you can go on the beach to lounge around, you want to buy an umbrella, you're going to need cash for that unless they have a credit card reader. And in my opinion, you don't even want to use the credit card readers because, especially if they know you speak English, they will try to scam you. There was a point where I was trying to buy 3 beers, and we agreed for $30. And I didn't have the cash on me because I had two big bills. I had like 100 reals, and they only had 30. Didn't have change. So the guy said, "Okay, do you have a card?" And I said, "Okay, sure." And so he tried to charge me using his card, but he charged me 60 reals instead of 30. And so, me quickly, I always check before I I tap my card. So I checked and I saw they charged me 60, even though we agreed on 30. And so I gave him the beers back. I said, "No, you tried to scam me, so you're gonna get nothing." So this is what's gonna happen to you if they know you speak English. They assume you're rich, so they're gonna charge you more. That's why I prefer cash, because with cash, you know how much you're spending. I mean, with card, you can know too, but if you're like me and you're drinking, you're having fun, you're not going to always be on your P's and Q's. So, yeah, I think having a good amount of cash is optimal.
So, brother, when you're using card there, you're using your American account.
Yeah, you can use Visa,
Okay.
they accept Visa, MasterCard, Discover, you're fine.
Okay. And how much were the foreign exchange fee? Did you pay for FX exchange fees, or did you have a card that removes that for you?
I mean, I didn't check, but it was very cheap. I mean, if there was fees, it was very cheap. I bought a beer for like 88 cents. So like I don't think there was fees, because if there was fees, it would be more expensive. So I think if you have card, it's just they just do the exchange rate and they charge you that. I think that's what it is.
Awesome, bro. So let's go into the woman part now, bro. So, brother, Brazilian women, bro, how are these women like? Are they checking for brothers across all races?
Okay, so let me I'm glad we talked about this because this is what I want to talk about. Let me just preface by saying that Brazilian women, and I said this before on previous stream videos. I forgot which stream, but I think it was one of the last streams of 2023. But Brazilian women, as far as I know, are the most attractive women that I've seen in my entire life in terms of a country. I'm not just saying that. I have intel from other brothers who've been to as more countries than me. I went with a friend of mine that's been to 30 countries, and I know he's been to 30 because he literally has a map of all the places he's been to and stars them. So he's been to 30 countries. He said Brazil had the most beautiful women. I've got another brother who's been to 28 countries. He said the same thing. I've heard a lot of people say this. Brazil has the absolute most attractive women by far, and it's not even close. I'm not saying you can't find women who are as attractive as Brazilian women in other countries, but if you're talking about just the overall quality and the abundance of beautiful women, yeah, there's nothing that beats Brazil, not even close.
Okay, and these are including women with tats and piercings, or are you
Yeah,
excluding those low value women, brother?
I mean, yeah, but you use them for what you want to use them for. You know what I mean? I think we know how to screen wives from fun, and for me, Brazil also think that's a fun time. So, you have girls with tats and piercings. I wouldn't use that for a wife, but I mean, I'm here for a good time and a long time. So that's kind of how we did it. So, but yeah, I mean, all those women are absolutely attractive, and I'm not just talking about like light skinned women or caramel skinned women. I'm talking about any type of woman that you want, whether you like a white girl, or you like a black girl, or you like a super black girl, like me. I like dark skinned black women. You want a beautiful dark skinned black chick, or you want a caramel chick, or you want a white chick, or you want a Japanese chick, or you want half Japanese, half Brazilian, or you want Indian chick. Any type of girl that you want, you can find in Brazil, and you'll find them in abundance, and they'll be beautiful. It won't be like here in America where you'll find them and they won't be attractive. They'll be beautiful over there.
Okay, let's deconstruct Japanese Brazilian women, brother. Right. So you came across some brother in Brazil. First question to your brother is: are the Japanese Brazilian women checking for brothers?
Yeah, but I wasn't checking for them. I wasn't. I'll be honest with you. So they are checking for brothers, especially in Sao Paulo. There's a lot of Japanese, a lot of Japanese Brazilians in Sao Paulo, especially if they're just Japantown. But for me, I never seen so many beautiful dark skinned black women in my life, like ever. So for me, that's who I was checking for. I wanted the black women because I just never seen that many beautiful black women in my life, um, like ever. I mean, I know they existed, but they were kind of like unicorns where I just didn't see them. So when I was in Brazil, you go from not seeing them, they're like Bigfoot, to seeing them in abundance, like they're grass. You just see it everywhere you go. Yeah, for me, I was definitely checking for the dark skinned black woman. Now, I knew I was going to be going to Japan later and Korea and stuff like that. So, um, that's kind of where I was going to get my fix if I wanted some Asian woman. I mean, I'm in Thailand right now, as you can see, so got my girl with me. But if we're talking about, um, I think the short answer is yes, they're definitely checking. But I didn't get with any Japanese Brazilians personally because I was checking for the black Brazilians.
Okay, interesting. So give us a lowdown on black Brazilian women, brother. Particularly, I want the peanut butter brown skin, half black, half white. How are they like, brother? Are these women wifey? Are they like, a good replacement from the horrible BWs in the West? Break it down.
Yeah, so I feel like I know you pretty well, at peace. I feel like you and I, we have a pretty similar standard. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The same thing that we fully agree with, and I'm like, okay, this guy, he's like me. So let me put it this way: they're better than American women, hands down. But are they wifey from the ones that I've interacted with? No, I would say no.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh. Y- What? You tell me, brother, black Brazilian women are not wifey?
I
Damn.
mean, just Brazilian in general, Brazilians in general, not just black Brazilians, Brazilian. I mean, from the cities that I've been to, right, from Sao Paulo, from Rio, I would say no. A lot, like I said, a lot of them, more than half of them have tattoos or piercings. And for me, if you have tattoos, maybe with a piercing, depending on what type of piercing you have, I can let it slide. But if you have a tattoo, that's an immediate no for me, brother. I'm not. I can't like a girl with a tattoo. I just can't do it. So that actually said a lot of women but and then, like I said, there's a culture in Brazil. Okay, I was going to wait to say this, but I think it's a good time to say it right now. There's a culture in Brazil, right, where this actually stopped me from getting with a lot of women because I could have with a lot more women. But there's this culture in Brazil. And anyone who's been to Brazil will know what I'm talking about, where you have to kiss the girl in order for the girl to feel like you like her. And for me, brother, yeah, I can't do that. I find that disgusting. Like if I know you after a while that I can kiss you, I just can't kiss a random woman that I meet in the club or on the street or I just can't do that. There was this one time I was in a club in Rio. It was in Lapa, and I saw this girl. She was a beautiful, gorgeous girl, gorgeous Brazilian chick, gorgeous Carmela, Brazilian chick. She kissed like five dudes throughout the course of the night. I saw her because I was like, I couldn't help see her. She was beautiful, but she kissed like
Ugh.
five dudes. And I'm like, and so what I always think about is like, okay, so if I'm kissing this chick, how many other residual men am I tasting the saliva of after I kiss? Like, I can't do that.
Ugh.
So, but the thing is, right, the Brazilian chicks, they if you don't kiss them, they look at it as like you don't like them. You know what I mean? So
Ugh. This
yeah,
is
you see what I'm
disgusting,
saying?
bruv.
Yeah, exactly. So there might be a girl, she's feeling you, she likes you a lot, but if you don't kiss her, then she just thinks, okay, you just want to fornicate with her. You don't want to actually be serious with her. But that might not actually be true. You might actually want to be serious with her, but it's like, I don't know how many other men you've kissed tonight. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me personally, that was a big problem with me. In fact, I was talking to some of the Brazilians over there, and they thought I was like passive. Like they thought I wasn't like I was. They thought I was shy or like I wasn't having experience. I didn't have an experience with the women. And like anyone who knows me, you know me personally, like that's definitely not the issue. It's just I did not want to kiss these women. I just didn't want to do that. That's just not the way I roll. Maybe if we're talking about 10 years ago, when I had low self esteem, I want to prove to myself I can get women, then yeah. But 2024 me, 2023 me, absolutely not. I just was not want to do that. So you're gonna have to, if you want to run through these women, you're gonna have to get over that. But for me personally, I'm over the whole running through women. Like I'm just done with that. I'm not saying I won't do it. I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, why not? But I'm not gonna kiss random women that I don't know just in order to compensate. That's just not something I do. So, um, yeah, so I would say no. But you have to understand, we're in the two biggest cities in Brazil. I feel like if you go to the more of the outskirts, you go to other places, you go to the south, you're going to find a lot more wifey Brazilians, like girls who are not from the city. But the cities and honestly in most countries are just corrupted. That's what it is. So
Bruv. That is disgusting. That goes down in Brazil? Flipping heck, bruv. Nah, man, that's just
I
nasty.
know you're like me. I know you're like me. But the thing is, a lot of people they'll just see the woman and they'll see. Listen, these are gorgeous. I've never seen more gorgeous, abundance gorgeous woman in my life. So people will just see them and they'll be like, I don't care. She's bad. I'll do it. But for me, I'm like, yeah, she's bad, but I just saw her kiss a dude 2 minutes ago. I'm not doing it. So yeah, exactly. So this is what I'm saying. I feel like you're like me. Now, if you're like the average dude, I hope it's not the average man in the stream. But if you're like the average American, then you're just gonna go for it because these women are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they're gorgeous. But if you're like you and you're like me, that's a huge turn off.
Bro, what? Yo, what does this mean, Ace? Pause. I hope I'm not. You're not saying what I think. You're not saying what I think you're saying, bro. Pause on that. What is going on in Brazil? I might have to put Brazil on the red list after hearing this kind of intel. What's going on, bruv? What is going on in Brazil? Flipping heck. I can't, nah, but I can't get down with that. I can't, man. Gal kissing other dudes, you know, what that same night, and you gotta kiss her. F off, man. F out of here. And some of you dudes, right? Because you don't think up here, you think with your down there, you do it because you want to get boxed. Nah, bruv. Nah, man. Yo, Brazil looking funny. Brazil is looking funny in the light. I'm saying it right now. Brazil is looking funny in the light right now. Who are those dudes that are popping up Brazil? These other dudes on YouTube. Did they tell you this? Because right now this is news to me, bruv. This is news.
I was there for 2 months. I'm telling you, this is how it goes down. I was there for 2 months, bro. 2 months.
Nah, f this, bruv. Nah, man. I think I might have to. Hey, I might have to put Brazil on the red list. That's not flying with me, man. Nah, bruv. I can't do that. So, ugh, disgusting. So let me let me ask this then, brother. So you tell me the average chick in Rio and Sao Paulo, right? Obviously not every chick, but the average chick, right? Every other chick has tattoos, piercings, green hair, wearing booty shorts. Bruv, what? No, come on, man. I'm trying to get away from that in the West, bruv.
Yeah, I would say it's even worse than it is in the West because I mean, in at least where I'm at, like it's warm in Brazil. I mean, even Sao Paulo, it's cooler, but it's still pretty warm. Yeah, they wear that. They wear very revealing clothing, and they have a lot of tattoos and they have a lot of piercings. Now their demeanor is better than the Western women, right? But if you just were to look at them, like for example, if I saw the average Brazilian chick, and she was in America, I wouldn't even talk to her because I would assume she's Western. I assume she acts bougie, all this stuff. But they don't act that way. They look that way, but they don't act that way. So, but if you're talking about purely looks, like if you just want to judge like a book without reading by its cover, like without reading the insides, then yeah, they would. I would say the average Brazilian chick, at least in the cities that I went to, which is Rio and Sao Paulo, they look even worse than the average American chick.
Wow. We feel that way when you go abroad. Like, why don't you guys just go to the club? Because we know that chicks, like you're in a club, a chick done kiss 10 dudes, you definitely don't want to be the 11th. That's nasty. That's disgusting. That is beyond disgusting. Wow.
I have some
Um,
strange about this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so brother, so you tell me, brother, every race of woman there, black, white, even the peanut butter brown skin chicks, right? They're getting down like that in Rio and Sao Paulo, including the Brazilian Japanese. They're doing this kind of filthy nonsense as well.
Look, let me be clear. If you don't kiss them, they think you don't like them, or they think you just want to use them for their bodies. You have to kiss them.
Across
So,
across every race.
yeah, I mean, unless they're untouched, then yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. That's the culture. Every race.
Huh. Nah. Pass. Yeah, y'all can have Brazil.
It's like a handshake over there. Kissing is like a handshake. That's just how you do things. That's how you do it. And this is what the Brazilian men told me themselves. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is nasty, man. Oh, flipping heck, bro. What's happened to this world? What is happening to this world? So, so, bro, you saying that these women are not wifey? I can see why you feel that way, bro. I can see why you feel that way. I definitely wouldn't wife a chick up from Sao Paulo or Rio after hearing this. That's a big no. And Brazil is supposedly a religious country. They got that 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 Jesus that Jesus statue looking
Yeah,
over
Chris.
Rio.
Yeah, yeah. That was my first wonder. I went there. That was my first wonder. I mean, yeah, they're supposedly religious, but you wouldn't be able to, if you were an alien and you didn't speak any languages and you just watching them from afar, you wouldn't think that way.
Wow. Now, Brian, you're gonna have to call in, bro. The Brazilian Japanese women are on point from my experience. But okay, so dude, you tell me about the Brazilian Japanese, they don't kiss random dudes. They don't expect you to kiss them, right? Like some animal. They don't do that. Let me know, brother, if they are bucking the system, because if that's the case, I might have to prioritize Brazilian Japanese if I ever go to Brazil. Um, this is just this is
Yeah,
some
let me touch
effery.
on let
Go
me
on, bro.
touch on that. From my experience, like I said, I was in Sao Paulo. There's a lot of Japanese in Sao Paulo. They behave the same way, from my experience. So unless there's some clubs where they don't allow anyone except Japanese, or I saw they all behave the same way from my experience. And like I said, I was there for 2 months, and I was pretty much any day that I could party, I pretty much was partying. And if I wasn't partying, I was on your stream. That's kind of what I was doing. So yeah,
Okay, so let me ask this, brother. Right. So we can't find Wi-Fi in those two cities. You are strictly relegating, or you're putting Rio and Sao Paulo in the just go there to have fun. Basically so Rio and Sao Paulo are to what Scandinavia is to us in England. So obviously, women there in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, very very easy woman, beyond easy. If you can't get it out there, something wrong with you. So you were saying, Robert, that's what you gotta put that kind of region into, and the woman there, put them into the only for fun purposes, don't wife them up. Is that what you're saying, bro?
what I'm saying is I'm writing down those countries, and those are the countries I'm going to next. But but yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. The only exceptions I would say is if you go to colleges, you have to understand. It depends on how old you are. Like me, I still look like a college student, so I still look relatively young, so I can pass by there. If you go to colleges, you can get like if you get them young, then maybe people say that the malls and the stores and yeah, I don't actually agree with that. I think that they're the same. They just show a different face when in the mall or they're in the stores and stuff like that. Like I think they act the same way when they're out at night. So I just think it's a culture there. I just think that's how it is. So yeah, for me personally, I would put that in the for fun category. I wouldn't necessarily try to find a wife that's from Rio or from Sao Paulo. No.
So, brother, I'm gonna assume here, right, that the average body count of the average Brazilian is through the roof. Let's keep it stacked, bro. Like, I'm thinking minimum they got a body count of 20 dudes minimum.
Yeah, you
The body count
can't.
must be outrageous, bro. And let's just be real here, bro. The body count is it doesn't matter what race she is. They're getting down to a high body count. Would that be a fair assessment?
I would say half and half. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a fair assessment because it's very easy to kiss a Brazilian chick, but to fornicate, not so easy. Just because like I said, kissing is the culture there. It's like a handshake, but just because you kiss a chick doesn't mean you're gonna be, you're gonna be taking her. No,
Yo, this brother said kiss is like a handshake.
it really is. Like, if you want to kiss 10 girls a night, you can easily do it. Trust me, I'm telling you. But I don't particularly like kissing like that. In fact, when I was younger, before I kissed my first girl, I thought it was absolutely disgusting. Eventually I got older and I got over it, but I never particularly liked kissing. So the idea of kissing like a lot of girls, like that just never was a thing for me. Besides, like my freshman year in college, because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. But after I proved that, I'm that dude, I never really particularly liked kissing. So, but yeah, over there, like I said, it's like a handshake, and if you don't do it, she's gonna think that you only like her, like for fun purposes. Like she's gonna think that there's no actual future. You know what I mean? So it's a hard thing to pass because it's like, how do you tell her that, like, I could potentially see something with you, but I'm not the kissing type, because like for them it's like, if you don't kiss them, you don't like them. That's how they view it. So, but I wouldn't say they're like Americans, like, because in America, what I would do in America, like the way I would get around, if we're going super, like, in depth, the way I would get around the whole kissing culture in America is I would kiss on their neck, or kiss on their chest, or kiss their ear. That's what I would do. I don't like kissing girls, especially when I know how many guys they've been with. So that's the way I would get around kissing them. And then sometimes they would force kiss me, and then there's nothing I can do there. But a lot of times, okay, I'm trying to keep it PG. You know what I mean? Trying to keep it PG. We'll leave the rest for your Patreon. But yeah, so that's kind of how the way I would get away with it in America. But in Brazil, like, the woman, they literally don't think they think you don't like them if you don't kiss them on the lips. If you don't swap, they don't think you'll like them. So it's a tough thing to navigate. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. But that's a tough thing to navigate, bro.
No, but this is good. This is good intel, man. This is why, again, we give the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're not here to lie to brothers here. Go to the mall in Brazil. Language meets up with church. The classy ones hang there. Brother, did you come across any classy Brazilian woman, brother? No tattoos, no crazy piercings. When did you meet her, bro? Break it down for us, bro.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, they say this, and I've been there. I've been to the language meetups. I haven't been to church. It's the only one I haven't been to. But I've been to the mall, the language meetups. There's this one famous one in Rio, and what I'll say is they present as classy. Sure. Now, are they actually classy? That's one for you to decipher. I would beg to differ, but I would say they present as classy. Yeah. But in my opinion, like, the girl who presents as classy, that's not classy. She's even worse than the girl who's not classy. Because at least the girl who's not classy, she shows you who she is. The girl who presents as classy, she's trying to sell her price for higher than what it should be. So yeah, I
Wow.
would agree to disagree when it comes to experienced architect. Agree to disagree.
So that's Brazil cross off truth there, Jam. Much appreciated, bro. Because taking it off the list. So let me ask, brother. Right? Did you sense any sort of femininity? Sorry, actually, feminism, brother. I've been hearing some stories about that's growing out there in Brazil. Did you feel like a strong feminist aura? Did you feel feminism over there, bro?
Yeah, me, no, but I can understand people say it. It depends who you are. If you're us, you're not going to deal with that problem because you make way more than the people there. If you're an average Brazilian, then yeah, you'll understand and you might feel that problem because, like I said, the women there, they're very attractive. They also make their own money, and if they're attractive, they'll date foreigners, and that's how they'll make their money and like that. So, yeah, like, if for you, you're not gonna really experience that. Like, she'll act very feminine around you because you're like the top whatever, like 1% over there. So you'll experience what it's like to be there and here. And it's even better for you because she can't easily rob you like in the U.S. Like if you marry a girl in the U.S. in the top 1%, she can divorce you and take you for all you got. But if she can't go do that in Brazil because you can just leave. So she's gonna be her best to be feminine around you. But yeah, if you're an average Brazilian or you make a very low wage, then I can see why they say feminism's creeping up there. But I didn't have any issues with femininity there. Femininity was abundant over there for me.
Okay, interesting there. Shout out to Dan Demand for subscribing. Welcome Dan Demand to the channel. Awesome, bro. Hope you well, brother. Let us know who you are, Dan Demand, in the comment section. Awesome, bro. So let me ask this, brother. Right? Let me ask this. Submissiveness, femininity. Did you get that from the Brazilian chicks you dealt with? Did you see that there? Or are these women masculine? Keep it a buck, bro. Keep it a stack.
No, like I said before, they're extremely feminine. I had absolutely no issues with them in terms of femininity. They're extremely feminine towards me. They played the part very well. I had absolutely no issues in terms of femininity over there. None at all.
Okay. How were you meeting women? Was it dating apps or were you cold approaching?
No, I was cold approaching. I was either meeting them on the beach, I was meeting them out in town, I was meeting them in restaurants, or and this is what I say it's the worst thing to do is meet them at the clubs. That's the way I was meeting them.
Okay, interesting, bro. And were you going for a particular type? I'm guessing dark-skinned black woman.
Yeah, because like I said, you don't see that type of beauty, at least in the U.S. in terms of like dark skinned black women. I have a reputation in the U.S. of like me not like liking black chicks, and that's absolutely 100% not true. It's just that no, I mean I can understand why outside looking in they say that to me because the girls I date are typically they're not black, but the reason why that is because the black girls that I like don't like me, and the black girls that like me I don't like. So, typically what I say is like this is my theory on this. When it comes to dark skinned black women, right? If they're attractive, they rate themselves like 2 or 3 points higher than they actually are because there's so few of them that are super attractive. You know what I'm saying? So, like for example, 80% of black women ABWs are obese or overweight or obese. Like 80% of I think are overweight, and of that number, 80% are obese. So a lot of them are just like that X's them out right there in terms of the weight. I mean, me, you see what I look like. I'm an in shape black dude. There's no way I'm gonna deal with an overweight chick. So that takes out 80% of them right there. And so a girl who's just simply just not ugly and is not fat, that'll be like what, a 6, right? A 5 or a 6 in any other race. But to them, they look at themselves at 8, 9s because there's so few of them that are actually not fat and not ugly in the U.S. So if you have a girl that's just like a 6, she's gonna rate herself as an 8 or a 9. And I like to consider myself a humble 7. If
Humble
I ever
seven. Humble seven. I've never had that before, bro. Carry on, bro.
if I'm going from the KS standard and I can't say 7, I would say a high 6, something like that. I'm tall, I'm in shape, I'm young, I have good skin. I don't know how attractive my face is. You can tell me, what do you think or not? But actually, don't tell me because that would be sus. But yeah,
Mega sus, bro. Mega sus.
exactly. But I think I got a lot of the things that the opposite sex desires in a mate. But
Mm.
I'm not gonna be willing to sell for a girl who's below a 6.
Facts, bro, man. Facts. No ducks, bro. Know your value, bro. Know what know what you can attract, bro. Like, don't go for no big jumbotron Becky that some of these dudes in the West do that I see in the UK, bruv, smiling with some overweight sized Becky, making us look bad. Long as you ain't doing that, bro, you're good, bro. In
Yeah,
my
yeah,
opinion.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I'm not gonna do that. But what I was trying to say was that I won't do that. Like typically, the caliber of girl I can get is better outside my race than within my race. So let's say the best girl I can get is at the absolute best is a 5. And we're talking about a 5 who won't treat me well. Just a 5 that thinks I'm lucky to have her. Then I can get an 8. I can get an 8 Indian chick or an 8 white chick, or a 7.5 Asian chick, or a 9 Latina chick. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, why would I deal with a 5? Like they all my friends, they thought I didn't like black girls, but that's just not true. I just can't get the black girls that I want in the U.S. But like I said, when I was in Brazil, I had to pick of the litter. I mean, there's so many beautiful dark skinned black chicks, and I mean darker than me, and I'm a pretty dark guy. You've seen what I look like. So they had beautiful, long, natural hair, absolutely banging bodies, large rumps. I mean, just everything was nice about them. They were absolutely fantastic, and I had my fun out there. If you know what I mean.
Awesome, bro. Yeah, we've definitely got to do a Patreon talk. I'm trying to keep it coded as soon as good as possible and keep it PG. So uh, Peru and Panama. Okay, so let's get some callers in. So yeah, I can call in, brothers. If you have any questions for our guests, you want to chime in about about Brazil. I've said my part, and I think the brother Jam has gave us some incredible insight here, into Brazil, and the truth, nothing but the truth. Um, a whole bunch of debauchery going on out there in Rio and Sao Paulo. I want none of that. I do not want to be linked to that. So I know what spots I would definitely be going to in the Americas. Uh, Brazil, not interested in Brazil. I'll keep it a stack. Just too liberal, too out there. Woman there, too forward. Get high body counts. Party culture, drinking culture. I don't want that, bruv. I keep it stacked. I'm a real true dude. I'm conservative. I want me a homebody chick. Uh, be at home reading a book. Humble chick. Don't want no horrible looking chick with tats and piercings. I don't care. I don't care how great the body is. I don't care if she got that peanut butter brown skin. If you're Brazilian, I'm doing a lot of checks on you, a lot of vetting. Because the trouble, it sounds like trouble if you don't know what you're doing, bruv. You might get finessed. You might get finessed. Um, you know, you want to
Well,
say something, Jam?
let me add on this a little bit on that because I feel like maybe I might have purposed a little bit of too bad. Like I'm going to reiterate again one more time. Um, if we're talking about beauty, right, unequivocal beauty, there's no more, not only just the most beautiful, but the abundance of beauty that you'll find than in Brazil. Brazil has a very, especially in Rio, they have a very gym culture, right? They work out. I'm a big runner. I'm an avid runner. I like to run. I run an hour every day. When I would go to Ipanema, Copacabana, they have like a running lane right by the beach. It's like 5 miles long between Ipanema and Copacabana. I was there every morning. I would see hundreds of people running with me every single day. People would be working out. In America, being in shape is a flex. So I'm in America. I show off my abs, I show off my pecs, stuff like that. That's like a flex. It gives me like a leg for the competition. In Brazil, that's like the standard. You see the difference? Right? In America, it's
Yeah.
a flex. In Brazil, it's the standard. And the same thing in terms of the women, right? Beauty is the standard. In America, beauty is a flex. But in Brazil, beauty is the standard. So the women don't really compete with beauty per se. They compete with femininity, which is why I said that Brazilian women are some of the most feminine women I've ever been with because you know if they act masculine, you can easily replace with another Brazilian chick. So it's not like in America where the beauty is it's hard to come by. So if you find a beautiful girl, you just stick by her even though she treats you bad. In Brazil, if she acts up, there's another Brazilian around the corner who looks just as good, if not better than she does. That won't give you as much hassle. So the beauty is unmatched. The gym culture is very, very big there. The weather is absolutely fantastic. The language is easy to learn, especially if you know Spanish. Like I didn't brush up my Portuguese too much when I got down there because I knew Spanish already and I thought that was good enough. Now Spanish is nowhere near as good as Portuguese. It's not near Portuguese, but if you do speak Spanish, they'll understand you. You can communicate. That's one thing I do regret. I wish I picked up my Portuguese a little bit more before I went down there. But if you know Spanish, you can communicate. Actually, speaking of which, and I think I said this on the last stream, at least in Rio, there's a lot of Argentinians there, a lot of Argentinian women. And I know Argentinian women in Argentina, they're not checking for brothers. But out here in Brazil, they're checking heavy for brothers. I mean, heavy, heavy for brothers. Trust me, I know. Okay? They're checking heavy. And this leads to my theory where it's like, you know, they kind of always were checking for brothers. But, in Argentinian culture, they know that if they deal with you and they don't get married or it doesn't become something serious, then they're essentially tainted amongst their own men. So they're not going to risk dealing with you and then becoming tainted, becoming labeled. But when they're abroad and they don't have to deal with the whole tainted aspect, yeah, they love the brothers out here. So if you find Argentinians, I love them a lot because we can speak the same language. I speak Spanish, and obviously they speak Spanish, so that was very easy for me to communicate with them. And Argentinian Christmas and Argentinian New Year's, if you know what I'm saying. They're absolutely fantastic. They're a delight, and they're like the Argentines are pretty much white. And if you know the history, you should know why. But if you like white Caucasians, then the Argentinians in Brazil, they're checking out his brothers.
Okay, so brother, did you deal with an Argentine woman in Brazil, and how did you meet her?
Yeah, so I met Argentinian bros, like brothers, I guess Argentinian passport bros, in a club, and I was speaking with them
Sorry,
because
bro. Were they black or white? These bros.
I mean, yeah, when I say okay, maybe not. Let me say bro. Let me say Joe's. Let me say Joe's. If you
Okay.
know, yeah, exactly. So, so Argentinians, if you know, they're mainly white. At the most, they'll look a little bit Latino, but there's not really any black Argentinians like that. So at least, and if they are, they're not traveling abroad. They're definitely not. So yeah, they were white Argentinians, but I knew I was able to communicate with them because they spoke Spanish and I speak Spanish. So when I found out they spoke Spanish, then they became my group because the predominant language in Brazil is Portuguese, not Spanish. So they didn't speak Portuguese. My Portuguese wasn't that good, but we both spoke Spanish, so we kind of became a group from that. So I met up with them. We took an Uber back, got WhatsApp. We became close, and then they hit me up on Christmas Eve to go to. This is actually where I went to the languages game. I think it's called Ipanema Hostel Club. I think that's what it's called, Ipanema Hostel Club. I think it's the same place that they have the language exchange, something like that. But I went there for Christmas. I actually have a video on that, so I can send it to you like personally later. But I actually have a video of me there. But yeah, that's where I met the Argentinian woman, and they were gorgeous. They were absolutely gorgeous. Young women, couldn't be older than 25. Absolutely gorgeous women, and yeah, they were checking heavy. Like when I saw them, I knew instantly that they liked me. Three in particular. There was one girl I really liked, so I ended up talking to her. And I actually told her, she was like, "Oh, you should come to," because they're actually from Buenos Aires, like the capital. And I said I was going to go there because my friend, if you remember in the previous stream, like I said, I was traveling with a friend of mine. He wanted to go to Buenos Aires, but from watching your streams, I learned, yeah, I'm not going there. I'm just not doing that. So I told him, no, we're not going there. Or if you're going there, you go by yourself. But I ain't going there. And so I was telling her the same thing because I know that they don't really like brothers over there. And she said, "Oh no, I mean we do," but she was essentially telling me the whole stigma. So this is where I believe that the girls they actually do like us, but if you understand, there's a lot of risk that a girl takes by dealing with you. Like if she just deals with, like for example, if she just deals with you in the short term, and you're white, her men are not going to shun her. But if she deals with you in the short term and you're black, the men will definitely shun her. So this is kind of like if you remember back when we talked about the Indian stream, it's very similar in that aspect where I don't think the women actually themselves are the R word, like aces. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
think it's just that there's so much negativity that comes with them if they were to deal with you. That unless they're absolutely trashy, because we have that stigma where we deal with the trashy women of other races, or they know that it's a sure thing and they'll take them seriously. It doesn't behoove them to deal with you because there's just too much risk and not a lot of benefit with dealing with you. So that yeah, but like I said, when they're away from their country and they're not going to be judged and stuff like that, then yeah, they they show exactly who they like. And I had no problem dealing with the Argentinian woman there. Let me just tell you that. If we were in Buenos Aires, I don't think it would be. I think it would be a completely different story. I don't think they would even acknowledge my presence. But when we were in Rio, when we were in Brazil, I was the life of the party. And I have, like I said, I have video because I have like a lapel that I use to wear to record my travels. I can kind of show you a little bit of it. But yeah, I had no problem with them. So uh,
What? A lapel? What's that?
lapel's like it's kind of like a pendant that you use. So like you ever see like police, they have the body cam stuff like that. It's very similar to that, where you can have a body cam, and it's a little bit discreet. So it's not super discreet. Like if you look, you're gonna see that it's a camera. But if you're just drinking and you're chilling, you don't pay attention, then they won't necessarily notice that there's a camera. So I was kind of using it to record my travels because, I know I'm going to be doing this full time. I'm going to be traveling abroad. And so I thought, why not record my travels and, who knows, maybe do something with it, maybe make a channel, do something. At the very least, I'll have the footage to decide what I want to do with later. So I was recording my time there, and that's why I have that. I know I have that moment when I met the Argentinians because I had my lapel and I was recording there, and yeah, they took kindly to a brother. They treated brother well. They treated brother real good. So
Let me ask this, brother. Right. Um, so you actually asked the Argentinian woman, right? Like, you guys don't like black. Do you guys like black men? And they told you how they feel about black men. You actually said black men, and they told you no, we like black
yeah,
men, but it's
right.
a
That's it.
country. Oh wow.
Yeah, I told him the reason why I didn't want to go because she was like, you should come in, like, because I told her that I work remotely. That's when people travel. I'm gonna essentially travel anywhere I go. She's like, you should come with us to Buenos Aires, and I was like, yeah, I ain't going. She's like, why? I'm like, because la personas no le gusta los negros. That's what I told her, and she was like, no, it's for dad. Like she was essentially saying it's not true, but there is stigma because some of the black people they steal, they do stuff like that, and but like we actually love black people and all this. Essentially, she was telling me what I already thought, right? Where it's like the stigma prevents them from interacting with you, but if they're in a place where they're away from the stigma, if they can deal with you discreetly, it's kind of like how I told you about the Indian woman on the Indian stream, like. You can get with it. You can match with the Indian girl on Tinder, and she'll do crazy things with you, but she will never do that. She'll never do that stuff in public. She'll never do that in public because she has an image to maintain. That's the same thing with Argentinian women, right? They have an image to maintain. They know that they deal with you in public, and you're not serious with her, right? You just use her for a fun time, not for a long time. Then she's essentially staying. Like her own men won't deal with her. So you have to expect from her perspective, like, why would she take a chance on you when you can screw her over when she could just take the same chance with a white Argentinian, and even if that guy does screw her over, she still has opportunities to get with other men. But with you, you're essentially the last man she can get with.
Wow. Incredible. Incredible. Great intel, brother. Brothers, call in with the space on the panel. We're gonna go on for another 5-10 minutes. If y'all don't um call in, we're gonna wrap up early. So this has been a great stream so far. Interesting. Interesting. What did you come across any other nationalities of women there, brother, in Brazil that gave you play apart from Argentinians?
Yeah, they'll give me play. Like I said, I think they all give me play. Like I got a lot of looks, a lot of Google eyes from a lot of women. But yeah, there was Russian women, Japanese women. There was actually Chinese women there too. They were giving me play as well. They were looking at me. Um, they were essentially, like I said, it's pretty much like America. Like the amount of races that you can find. Like Indian women were there. Indian women were there, but the problem with the Indian women is they were there with their families. So I would see the girl, check the girl out, but then the dad's there. You know, so but yeah, it's very similar to America. It's very, very similar to America in terms of the amount of varieties and races there are. My biggest tip is honestly, if you can learn the Portuguese, right, or learn to a decent level, you don't have to be fluent, but learn to a conversational level where you can kind of make small talk. That's gonna help you a lot. Like I didn't really get conversational in Portuguese until near the end of my stay because like I said, I didn't prioritize it because I assumed Spanish was enough, and I was wrong. Yeah, they can understand you, but you won't be able to understand them, and that's kind of the issue. But yeah, if you know Portuguese, you'll do really well in Brazil. And my tip, if you want to find like I said, this is like for fun. I wasn't trying to find wifey here, although man, the amount of women, the amount of let me put this way, if you're into voyeurism, I've said this before, but I'm saying it again. If you're into voyeurism, if you're just into like looking at things that are beautiful, you know, Brazil is absolutely the place. You want to go to the beach and just witness and just take in the beauty. And I mean the beauty in all aspects. I mean the beach, right? The weather, the rocks, the women. I mean, you're just, I mean, you're, it's, I mean, I'm like, honestly, I'm like reminiscing right now. I'm missing going outside and seeing the Brazilian women. They're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they're so, oh my God, I'm honestly forgetting what I'm saying. They were just so, I've never seen so many beautiful women in such a condensed area in my life. They were absolutely 100% gorgeous. And the weather was fantastic. It's hot in Brazil, but it's not humid like it is in Miami. In Miami, it's very humid. So it feels more hot than it is. But in Brazil, it's hotter, typically. Like it was like 31 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. It's like 95, something like that. I have no idea. But it doesn't feel that hot because there's not that much moisture in the air as it is like in Miami. So, um, but yeah, that's just my that's my tips. But if you want to find, like I said, a wife in Brazil, I think it's definitely doable. I just think you just can't go to the, like, I think it's true honestly for almost every country. You just can't go to the big cities. Like if you go to the big cities, those are the places where it's corrupted. Like the women are corrupted, the money's there, all those things like that. You know, it's very hard to find. I mean, even in Thailand, I didn't find my girl in the big city. I found her in the outskirts. Like you just can't really look at the cities to find a girl like that. You just can't. You know, it's corrupted. I just think it's true for every place. Now, like I said, Brazil's still better than America. So if you're just looking for some place that's better than America, if you don't mind so much a Western girl, um, you know, you don't mind the tattoos and piercings, all that stuff. You just want a girl who treats you better and looks a lot better. Brazil's a fantastic place to go. I think most people don't have the standards that we do. Like I think our standards are pretty high, like really high. And I don't think it's that high. I mean, it wasn't that high 100 years ago, but at least for today, for 2024 standards, our standards are pretty high. But you know, for the average brother, right, that just wants to get a better deal abroad than he does here, Brazil's a fantastic place to go to. You're going to find women who are prettier, who are more feminine, less
You
demanding.
went, so, but you said
Hmm?
you went to the outskirts in Thailand to find your girlfriend. You actually went to the outskirts of Thailand to find your girl. I applaud
Yeah.
that, bro. Wow. Did you also do that in Brazil? Did you go to the outskirts of Brazil to find look for a woman, or no
Well,
time?
I kind of knew I was coming to Thailand after Brazil, so I wasn't really looking for. I like who I'm with right now. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really looking for a replacement. You know what I mean? Like, uh, yeah. And she's with me right now, so I don't want to. When she's sleeping, so I don't think she'll hear me. But and she's with me right now, so I don't want to. You know what I mean? I don't want to necessarily say anything, but I wasn't looking for a long term situation in Brazil. I was just looking to enjoy the culture, enjoy the festivities. I was there for New Year's. I was there for Christmas. It was fantastic. Rio and Christmas is fantastic. The only place that's topped Rio for Christmas was Times Square. I was watching the ball drop. That's the only place that's topped it. So it's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, if you want to find a girl, you need to go to the unbeaten path. You can't just be going to a place that all the foreigners go to. I mean, they're used to foreigners there. They're used to money, stuff like that. I mean, even though you're still rare, you know, you're not that rare because a lot of people come out there. So you need to go to places where they don't typically interact with foreigners. They don't typically interact with, you know, the West, and they don't have those Western ideologies or ideals or ideas or virtues.
Awesome. All right, let's wrap it up, bro. Let's wrap it up. So, thank you, Mr. Jam, for the breakdown, bro. Much appreciated, bro, for breaking down Brazil. Thank you, bro. So, brothers, once again, Python course, go and join the Python course. Jam is in IT, and he's able to, do what he can do right now, travel all around the world in IT. Jam, before you go, do you want to speak about the just how vital IT has been in your travels, brother? Earning money, remote working, living that, lifestyle, brother, not being tied down to a particular country, done possibly via IT. And my brothers got to make sure they pick IT, book the IT consultations with me, go on the Python course, because we out here changing lives here. IT is the best industry to do so. There'll be a time where there'll be no spots for brothers to get in. So we're telling you, brothers, right now is the perfect time to get on the Python course, to get into IT, work towards it, because you never know what could be a year from now, right? The market might get flooded and y'all can't get in. And we told you, you're going to be in the West, you're going to be dreaming about traveling. But while me and Jam and Theo and the other brothers, we out abroad, right, living our best lives because we put in the work in IT. When we told you to do so, y'all ain't listen. Break it down for us, bro.
I mean, yeah, man, I gotta book an IT. I gotta book a consultation with you shortly because I'm pretty sure I should my way up because I'm going to be living abroad full term. But I just want to touch base with you because I watched your Chilean stream in Santiago. He helped the brother with a PhD like make himself make himself incognito while he was traveling abroad. So I need to book one with you personally, not screw what everyone else says. I need to book one with you personally, honestly. So expect that shortly, brother. But in terms of like IT, right, and my lifestyle, yeah, man, I stumbled upon this. I got very fortunate. I didn't necessarily go in IT for this aspect, but yeah, this has absolutely 100% changed my life. I've been out of the states for 8 of the past 12 months. I've traveled to 5 different countries. Life is so much better here, right? The food is better here. The cost of living is better here. I mean, it's not even just a fact of like leaving the West. We all know the West is screwed, but it's also the fact that like you'll save so much more money if you live abroad. So, for example, my place in Thailand right now is $700 a month, and it's better than my apartment in Miami, which is $3,300 a month, not including utilities. Okay, so we're talking about what? What is that? That's almost 5 times as cheap. 5 times that's 1/5 the price
Mm.
for better quality. So it's not only just the fact that you live a better life, you also can put away more money. You can invest more. You know me about my investments. We talked about investments before. You know what my goal I'm trying to hit. Trying to hit a
Mm.
mill before 30. I'll easily be able to do that once I'm abroad. Because I'm now when I'm abroad, I should be able to invest at least 60% of my earnings, if not more. So yeah, dude, IT is absolutely the way to go. It's better than being a lawyer. It's better than being a doctor. It's better than any other quote unquote high tier profession. Because all of those professions, you have to be in the States to work. You have to be. You can't be a lawyer abroad. Although I did meet a lawyer in Brazil, but he worked like half remote. He wasn't fully remote, so he had to come back in the states. You know what I mean? But you can't be a lawyer full time remote in the states. You can't be a doctor full time remote in the states. What's another high? You can't be a dentist full time remote in the states. But you can be an IT full time remote in the states and make really good money. Even if you make a low salary in average IT, because I know you said in the UK they don't make that much money working IT. You can go to a country where the cost of living is lower and you could save a lot more money. I watched your Colombian stream with the IT brother that was in your class, right? Good student, right? He's living cheap, he's living lavish, right? Working remotely, living in Colombia, right? You can't save nearly as much money as me. If you're gonna do what I'm doing, you're gonna live like you're broke because that's what I did. I lived like I was broke in the U.S. So I could save money to invest. Not anymore. I'm gonna move abroad. I'm gonna live like I'm rich, and I'm gonna invest like I'm rich. So yeah, that's what I gotta say when it comes to the IT thing. If you ain't gonna do it, look, I understand. I was the same way. I heard about IT. I heard about the money, the possibilities. I heard about the money you can make, but I didn't really do it until I had a friend of mine who did it before me, and I thought he was. And I could look. I could just say this. I told him this personally. He knows this. I thought he was less intelligent than me. So when I found out he could do it, because I thought IT was for like geniuses. So when I first met he could do it, I was like, I have to do this. There's no way he was. And I honestly think this guy because he was sending me videos on Snapchat of all the things he was doing because he was working remotely, making 120K starting. He was just living a life. And meanwhile, I was studying for mechanical engineering and was only expected to make 70K after graduating. So IT is the absolute way to go. It makes you the most money, gives you the most flexibility, and also in terms of just also how much amount of hours that you work. I don't want to give the whole game away, but you can work a very minimal hours in IT and make your money. I've been working. I've been like I said. I've been working. I've been in Thailand for the past week. I haven't taken off. I've been working. It's been a work vacation. I get off work. I'm 12 hours ahead of you. So right now, what is it? It's almost 10, 11 p.m. 11 p.m. where you're at, right? It's 10:48 p.m. So it's 11 a.m. where I'm at. So I'll be working on American time, and when it's around 12 a.m. my time, which means it's 12 p.m. your time, I get off work and I go out and I drink and I party. That's what I do, and I get paid to do it. What do you do? What do you get paid to do? That's all I'm going to say.
Flipping heck, wow, amazing, living the life. Shout out to you, Jam. May you continue thriving and be successful. May you not only reach a mil, hopefully you reach more than a mil, 2 mil, 5 mil before 30, bro. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but I think you can figure it out some way, brother. So all the best success to you and your journey exponentially, brother. So, brother, it's been a great live stream. And again, join the Python course. I'm serious about it. I'm taking in new students. I'm looking forward to teaching new people. I love teaching, brothers, because the way I teach, it's in your head, right? Again, go on the Python, the Patreon page, look at the testimony section, right, under that tier, and see the lives I've changed by me teaching brothers Python. I know the IT game very well. I'm giving the secrets out before it's too late, before it gets flooded. And again, some of y'all, you ain't gonna make it. I'll keep it real. You're not gonna make it. You're gonna be at home. You're gonna be dreaming about these places. You're gonna not go anywhere and not even travel, right? And not have a remote job, not do things remotely, and that's on you. That is on you, right? If you're not a go getter, that's on you. If you are a go getter, get on the Python course and see how it will change you, man, and get start building your IT career and prospects. Make that leap of faith. It will change your life. So it's been a pleasure teaching all of you. Shout out to all you brothers and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you
One more
so very
thing.
much.